podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Blueberry.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
The Big G, Tokyo Town, StompDown.
It's the Big G, Tokyo Town StompDown from Subject Cinema, eCinemaOne, and Kaiju Corner. I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
It is Monday, May 13th. We are 13 days into our 31 days of Godzilla, and all kinds of Godzilla films in salute to the brand new legendary film Godzilla King of the Monsters, which comes out on May 31st, which Kim is still squeaking about.
Yes.
I want to know why they used over the rainbow in the trailer.
I don't get that.
Oh my god, that's crazy! Like the Earth Day trailer for Detective Pikachu had "What a Wonderful World." I'm like, what the heck?
Well,
okay. It's just weird. Don't forget, by the way, Kaiju Corner is a Patreon-only show. You can hear it if you're a subscriber at $5 a month or more. That and 2 other podcasts plus lots of other cool perks. Come over to patreon.com/PNRNetworks and sign up. We can use your support, and we know you'll like Kim's show. She goes into much deeper detail on all kaiju on that show. So make sure you do that. Movie number 13.
Yep.
Oh, God, I hate this movie. This is one of the ones I've seen, and I just think it is so bad, it's hilarious. Godzilla vs. Megalon. Released in March of 1973 in Japan, and here in the United States it came out in the summer of 1976, which was actually a year before the previous film we talked about yesterday. I'm like, okay, this movie has nothing going for it. You and I have argued about this because you kind of like it.
I kind of like it.
It introduces the character of Jet Jaguar.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm calm now. I'll just call Sirhat and give him to give me like a nice platitude to keep me calm, like he promises to do in the song.
What?
You haven't read my Eurovision coverage.
No.
Anyway.
As TC mentioned, Godzilla vs. Megalon is the 13th film in the Godzilla story, so far, the franchise, however you want to word it. It is also still part of the Showa series. The film is set in 1971 in America. In
1970X in the Japanese version.
Whatever.
Is that X standing for 10? Like in little 12 toes, where Dec El Do is X is Do and it stands for 10?
What?
People who know Schoolhouse Rock will understand that. Anyway, go ahead.
I think I need an aspirin. Anyway,
I think you need something stronger. You have to deal with me. You need something stronger. Anyway.
That's true. We're still testing nuclear weapons and things like that because humanity.
Boom!
And they're being tested underground because that's safe. As it turns out, they're being set off and they're sending shock waves all over the globe, including into Monster Island, which is in the South Pacific. And it's...
Ooh. That's nice. Bali High and all that from...
If you start singing, I'm going to wash that monster right out of my hair. I'm going to slap...
I was thinking of Bali High, but that's actually pretty good anyway.
I'm going to slap the taste out of your mouth. And it's upsetting the monsters, including monsters like Godzilla and Anguirus.
I'm upset!
Rodan. Well, you don't really want giant monsters to be upset. That's never a good idea, because then they tend to, trash your cities and kill everybody. As it turns out, it's also upsetting somebody else. There's a civilization that is underwater that has all this advanced technology and, is not called Atlantis. It is called Seatopia.
Oh, so it's not Namor.
No.
Okay.
No, Namor would just try and fight Godzilla by himself.
Yeah, he would,
because
actually.
he is that big of a beep. Sorry, there aren't any Namor fans in this house from what I can tell.
No, not really.
No. Unless they can cast Dwayne Johnson, and then I'd be like, hey. So now the Seatopians are pretty much had with all these nuclear tests that are underwater, underground and underwater, because they're like messing with their city. And, so they're basically going to do the equivalent of banging on the ceiling with their broom, by deciding to kill everybody on the top of the surface. Right. And they're going to do that by, they pray to their god. Okay. Their god is this big, really ugly, I'm sorry, but there it is, beetle-like cyborg monster thing, which is called Megalon. And they pray to Megalon to destroy the surface world because we set all these nuclear tests off and they want us dead.
That sounds familiar.
It does?
Destroying the surface world. Isn't that what Aquaman was about?
Well, yeah, but that was.
So now we know where they got the plot from that. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that was Ocean Master.
Couldn't you have copied better movies than this? Honestly.
But, hey!
Oh, it is. This movie sucks.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Aquaman.
No, Aquaman's fine.
Yeah.
I said, again, Aquaman's a better movie to copy.
Any movie that gives me Jason Momoa shirtless for more than 2 seconds, that's an excellent movie.
Shallow.
True. So anyway, we get to the human members of the cast that we're actually supposed to care about. One of them is an inventor named Goro Ibuki, who lives with his nephew Rokuro.
Beep, 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 beep. Short pants kid alert. Beep, 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 beep.
Precocious short pants kid alert. That's even worse. And they're hanging out.
I mean, if you haven't noticed, all the short pants kids in these movies are precocious. Every last one of them.
And they're also listened to by the highest members of the Japanese military. It's like, oh, they're not here to hurt us. They're our friends. Okay, stop attacking. Little Jimmy said so. Anyway. So, they're having a restful day out, having a good time. Rokuro's playing on a little boat. And Goro is hanging out with his buddy Hiroshi Jinkawa, and they, like I said, they're sitting there watching Rokuro, who's paddling along on a lake in this little paddle boat that looks like a fish that I wouldn't have gotten near as a kid, but that's just me. And the people of Seatopia, or the government of Seatopia, we're assuming all the people aren't a-holes, decide to, kind of be like, okay, this is our first volley by, they dry up the lake and they're going to use it as their base on the surface world. So, they're all like, oh, what happened to all the water? It must be an earthquake or blah, blah, blah. So let's head home. Tell the government, tell scientists, alert the media, screw that. We'll just head home. Okay then. So they go back to Goro's place and they wind up being attacked by some people that turn out to be agents from Seatopia. They were at Goro's house because they are trying to steal Jet Jaguar. Now, before you ask what Jet Jaguar is, it's not a what, it's a who. Technically.
No, it's a what?
Hey, that's not nice. It's an android.
No, it's a robot.
Well, it's a...
And it's not sentient without its controls.
Well, if it has controls, then it's not sentient anyway.
Right. So then you can't call it him. It's an it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fair. This is a robot that all three of them have been working on because apparently Rokuro is some kind of child genius or whatever. So they decide the Seatopians decide they want to steal Jet Jaguar because apparently having a giant beetle cyborg.
I want to know how they even found out about Jet Jaguar.
You got me. Because apparently having, a giant cyborg beetle as your god is not enough ammo or whatever. So they try to steal Jet Jaguar and they fail. You're going to see that a lot in this movie. The agents of the enemy fail. If that was a drinking game, you'd be completely in the bag by the end of this movie. So then also Jet Jaguar wasn't finished at that point. We cut to, there's a little bit of a time jump in the film, and Jet Jaguar is finished. And before they can send him out to test him and all that kind of jazz, the Seatopian agents come back and they wind up getting the drop on the three of them and knock them out. Their plan is that they're going to take Jet Jaguar and have him guide Megalon. They're going to have him fly, because he can fly, and he's going to fly in front of Megalon and point out what cities the Seatopians want Megalon to destroy, because apparently Megalon is stupid. I don't know. I'm not really.
Jet Jaguar is his herald.
Kinda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I don't like where that's going.
Well, I'm just saying.
Tell me you did not just compare this to Galactus. Please tell me you did not do that.
The way you described it, that's what it sounded like.
Well, yeah. By the white tree of Gondor.
Oh, will you stop with that, please? Anyway,
so, the agents are told that they are supposed to kill Goro and Rokurou. Boo. And Hiroshi is taken hostage because you'd want to kill the inventor? What?
Well, one of them.
Yeah. These people are not very bright. So the Megalon makes it to the surface world, and excuse me, and Jet Jaguar is leading him to places where he's supposed to be attacking. And the Japanese self-defense force is sent out because, holy crap, it's a monster again.
They've been so effective in the past.
Oh yeah, they're the gold standard. Seriously, and shock of shocks, they do nothing. They might have just have been throwing marshmallows at Megalon for all the good they were doing. The thing is, the three of them, Goro and Rokurou and Hiroshi, managed to get away from the agents and not get murdered, and so they reunite because they've been separated, and they decide that what they need to do is they need to get Jet Jaguar back under their control, because then they're going to send Jet Jaguar to Monster Island to get Godzilla. What? You think it would make more sense to go, hey, let's send it to Metropolis to get Superman, but that, whatever. Anyway. Different universe, I know. So,
I suppose they could get the Power Rangers.
Or whatever was the Power Rangers of the time. I don't know. Spider-Man hadn't shown up yet in Japan. That was still a few.
Oh no!
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that ever again.
God, Stan, why? Okay, anyway.
So Goro actually manages to get a hold of the the control for Jet Jaguar, thanks to help from the Japanese Defense Force, amazingly enough.
What happened to controls 1 through 3?
What?
You said they finally get control for
of Jet Jaguar. I should have said of. Stop being a jerk. So, they send, they're trying to send Jet Jaguar, as I mentioned, to Monster Island to get Godzilla, which, again, to me, seems like a very stupid idea. But the problem is that now there's no one to control Megalon, because, again, he doesn't seem to be very smart.
Right.
He's just kind of aimlessly wandering around wrecking stuff, and destroying buildings and houses and whatever else he can outside of Tokyo. He's not in Tokyo yet. He's just wrecking stuff because apparently he's a jerk. So the Seatopians find out that their little plan so far, the plan they had up to that point has fallen apart spectacularly, because now Jet Jaguar is not under their control anymore, and without Jet Jaguar, apparently Megalon just does what he wants and acts like a destructive toddler on a sugar binge. So
Doesn't seem very godlike, does
not
it?
really, no.
No, anyway.
No, not much. So the Cetopians' plan B is to send out a call for assistance into the Space Hunter Nebula aliens, the aliens of Space Hunter Nebula M, which there is a tie-in with the last movie. I'm sorry, we were talking before and we were saying there wasn't, and there is.
But didn't they destroy themselves in the last movie?
No, well, those were the ones that were on Earth. We're
okay, all right,
we're assuming there were other people that were on the dying.
They were agents on Earth, right? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so either the dying planet got better, or I don't know, I'm not sure, or it's still dying and they just gave up and they're all just going to commit suicide. I don't know. And their whole thing is the people of Cetopia, it's the ruler of Cetopia, we'll go with that. His whole thing is he calls them up and he's all like, hey, we need help. And the people, the people of Space Hunter Nebula M are all like, yeah, okay, no sweat, we'll hook you up. And they send Gigan, or however you say it, to Earth to help Megalon, because he did such a bang-up job the last time he was here. So, Jet Jaguar makes it to Monster Island, somehow convinces Godzilla to go along with this, and Godzilla's apparently all like checking his social calendar going, yeah, I got nothing else to do, okay. And so Godzilla shows up and he's all like ready to tear Megalon a new one. Now Jet Jaguar now does something that I was like, that would have been really useful before. Because Godzilla's not here yet. He's on his way. Because apparently he forgot how to do the flying backwards thing that he did in Smog Monster and could have gotten here a shite ton quicker. But we're not going to do that. Because now Jet Jaguar has this thing in his programming where now all this time up to now, I think up to now, the whole time, he's been humanoid size, slightly taller because he's got kind of a pointy head. But now he's got this programming that he can grow, and he grows until he's tall enough to fight Megalon. Which, of course, then begs the question, why in the hell didn't you do that sooner? So,
it does seem kind of a waste at the end of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
So, Jet Jaguar and Megalon fight, and it's not... They're pretty much equal ability-wise, and then Gigan shows up, and Gigan and Megalon beat the holy hell out of Jet Jaguar for a while. Finally, Godzilla shows up, and he's all like, alright, stop picking on my new friend. Because basically, the way that Jet Jaguar gets beat up by Megalon and Gigan, it's actually kind of embarrassing. I mean, they're just kind of like, they're almost beating him up like two bullies beating on a smaller child. Until Godzilla shows up and is all like, get away from him, you bitch! No, not really.
I don't think Godzilla would actually say that.
No, I don't either.
It'd be funny as hell, but I don't think he'd actually say that.
So, he shows up and he and Jet Jaguar are all like, oh, we're buddies now and we're gonna fight these two, and it's really kind of interesting because Gigan and Megalon actually kind of share a look with each other that even though they're monsters, you almost get this kind of, oh no, look from the pair of them. So we get a big fight between Gigan and Megalon and Godzilla and Jet Jaguar, and at the end of it, Gigan and Megalon are both defeated and wind up retreating, and the people of Cetopia, if I remember right, Cetopia wound up getting destroyed, or they wound up like retreating themselves. They were like, we're never going to mess with, the surface world again and all this other crap. At the end of the fight, and I am not making this up as much as I wish I was, Godzilla and Jet Jaguar shake hands. As every single self-respecting G-fan does this.
Facepalm.
Huge facepalm. And Godzilla's all like, okay, I'm heading home. See you around. Don't be a stranger. And he heads off back to Monster Island again, not flying like he did in Godzilla vs. Hedorah, which would make sense. Jet Jaguar...
Maybe he got a little disoriented, Nautilus flying.
Yeah,
you can see where he's been, but he couldn't see where he's going.
Yeah, that might be it. That and you might wind up crashing into, like, I don't know, something, I suppose, if you're flying the wrong... You might wind up getting a plane through the back.
That barber pole jumped out in front of me in the middle of the ocean.
You might wind up getting a plane through the back of your head or something like that. That wouldn't be good. And Jet Jaguar shrinks down to being normal-sized again, and at some point during all of this insanity, I'm not entirely sure when, Jet Jaguar gained a sense of self-awareness. You have to give me that. By the end of the film, this is not an it anymore.
Yeah.
This is a thinking being.
Right.
It's a thinking cybernetic form. No, it's not a cybernetic. It's an android. It's a think...
Robot.
No, it's not a robot.
Well, it's described as a robot. Or robot, as some of the people in that era said.
I wouldn't consider... No, I mean, if something is built like a human, that's an android to me.
Okay.
Because a robot... I mean, R2-D2's a robot. R2's really smart and everything like that, and he's also autonomous, but sometimes more autonomous than he probably needs to be. But he's a robot. He's not built like a human being. An android is supposed to be built to at least resemble a human. But anyway. So he starts walking off, and all of a sudden he stops and lets the humans catch up with him, and he almost gives this attitude like, I know you're my friends, and we're all going to be friends and defend the Earth together. The end. Like I mentioned, if people thought that Godzilla acted out of character in the previous film, oh boy.
I mentioned I hate this movie.
You've mentioned it.
This is one of the films I just can't. Even the Misty doesn't help it.
If you say so.
They try, and there's funny jokes, but it doesn't make the movie any better. Okay,
if you say so. This is definitely one of the films that, by now it is very, very, very exceedingly stupidly obvious that Godzilla is, friend of humanity and all that stuff like that. And they've really changed the costume to reflect that. Don't you agree?
Never really thought of it before.
The eyes. If you look at a still from this film and a still from something like Gojira, the eyes are
different. Well,
the eyes are completely different.
He continues to evolve toward cute in this film.
Yeah, that's definitely. I really feel that way, and I'm not the only one, but I mean, I like the Misty version. I think it's funny. I mean, I think it's really hilarious. But if you're a real true, I like it again, it's one of these films that if you're a real hardcore G fan, as in Godzilla is an unstoppable force of nature, some of these kiddie films can really make you cringe. But if you have to,
some.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Honey, you have to understand though. A lot of these films are they do have a cringe factor, and yes, it's a large cringe factor. I'm not going to deny that. But a lot of these films are parts of people's childhoods. They're parts of people's memories from childhood. And for some of us, they're part of the good memories of childhood. Some of us, they're the only good memories from childhood. So I'm not going to completely spit on all of them, but that's just my take on it. So that's going to wrap things up for this episode of the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown. And we will be back next time with another episode. And as we are counting down all this month to the release of Legendary's Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I am super duper insanely excited about. And so we hope you will come back tomorrow for the next film. And until then, I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham. Until tomorrow, and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown from Subject Cinema, Kaiju Corner at eCinemaOne.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.